Hello, dear radio listeners and viewers joining via the live stream or replay today. I'm Shantae, better known as Life Coach 614 here on social media, and I am thrilled to have you join us today as we embark on this new journey of self-care and well-being together. Before we dive into our main topic today, let's just set a few ground rules to ensure a positive experience for everyone. In order to maintain a harmonious atmosphere, we do have admins and moderators here to assist us with the chat. Please understand that this space is all about sharing and caring and embracing each other's unique self-care journeys. Your active participation and engagement are key to cultivating the positive energy that we value so much. Now, we kindly ask that you be mindful of your contributions, as all donations and subscriptions during the live stream directly support the Self-Care Club LLC. Your generosity helps to create a ripple effect of positivity within our community, enabling us to continue to spread joy on purpose. If anyone has any questions or if you're seeking any additional information about the Self-Care Club, I encourage you to head over to the selfcareclub.org for more details. Also, by visiting the website, you have the opportunity to book your free personalized one-on-one coaching session with me. So again, go to selfcareclub.org for more details. Now, let's pledge to make this community a beacon of positivity and support for everyone. If you are ready to embark on this new self-care adventure, put some green hearts in the chat for me. Good morning. Welcome in, lover boy. I see you. Welcome in. Tis a great new day, right? A great new day. Miss Honesty, I see you. Kale, thank you so much. Henry, Fergans, welcome in, you guys. All right, you guys. So this is our final session of the month. We had a good run this month, right? I think we made it just about every single day this month. So how's that for accountability? How is that for accountability, right? So as we end this month, all month long, we've been talking about one love, right? The love for self-love. And so as we finish out this month, I thought it would be a really good idea for us to finalize or end with, something else that, we need to pour into ourselves as far as, loving on ourselves and being kinder to ourselves, right? We need to be able to accept ourselves as we are. And so the topic that I wanted to do today is titled Loving the Imperfect. Loving the imperfect. Embracing flaws in ourselves and others, right? We've got to love ourselves as we are, as we continue to work towards being better, but we need to love the imperfect person that we are. And we live in a world that glorifies perfection, where we are constantly being bombarded with images of flawless lives, perfect relationships, and impeccable appearances. Yet, beneath the veneer of perfection lies a simple, profound truth. We are all beautifully imperfect, right? We're all perfectly imperfect. And so today I just want to invite you guys to explore the topic of loving the imperfect. Welcome in, Whitney. Loving the imperfect, right? Embracing flaws in ourselves and others. And, I want to, look at this through a lens of faith, as well as embracing the inherent messiness of the human condition, right? So we're going to look at this, partially from a faith version of it, but we're also going to keep it real, right? That life is messy. And so we're going to also, explore when it comes to that as well. So, when I think about, imperfect, loving the imperfect, right? The Bible speaks this directly into reality. It doesn't shy away from the messiness of human life, it rather addresses it head on. And so from the very beginning, we see that imperfection is woven into our very existence, right? The fabric of our existence. Um, when we think about the Bible, from the very beginning, Genesis recounts the story of the fall, where sin first entered the world, right? And that introduced the brokenness and the flaws into human nature. And so, from the beginning of time, right, before the beginning of our time, right, sin was introduced, which is a flaw, which is an imperfection, right? And then in Romans 3:23, it echoes this by reminding us that we all have sinned and that we all fall short of God's glory. And so imperfection is a fundamental aspect of our humanity, and it's a shared experience that unites us all. But, amidst all of this imperfection, there is still a very powerful, reassuring message. And that is that God's love is unconditional and unchanging, right? And so Romans 5:8 declares, but God demonstrates his own love for us in this: while we are all sinners, Christ died for us, right? MK, welcome in. And so, this profound truth assures us that we are all loved in spite of our flaws, right? That we are all loved with our flaws. So, why is it that we are judging ourselves and condemning ourselves and truthfully not loving ourselves when God loves us just as we are? And so that's the love, that is the agape, unconditional kind of love that we should be showing for ourselves as well, right? Because we know that God's grace covers our imperfections, offering us redemption, offering us acceptance. So if I'm good enough for that, why am I not good enough for me? Like if the higher power that I serve loves me and accepts me as I am, flaws and all, why can't I accept me? Why don't I love me? Right? Ruffman, welcome in. So let's get into this talk, right? Let's talk about embracing our messy selves, right? Because we all got the tendency to be a little messy, right? That's life for you. And so, let's start by looking inward, because I always say that one love, that self-love, starts with us, right? It starts with ourselves. And so we've got to look inward and embrace our own messiness, right? And so in 2 Corinthians 12:9-10, Paul writes, therefore, I will boast all the more gladly about my weaknesses, so that Christ's power may rest on me. For when I am weak, then I am strong. And so in that scripture, that teaches us that our weaknesses and our imperfections are not something to hide from, right? A lot of times we're hiding our flaws, right? We're ashamed of our imperfections. But Paul tells us, you know what? I'm not going to hide it. Listen, I'm going to tell you, honey, I'm a hot mess. I curse a little. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to point it all out. I curse a little. I might have me a drink or two from time to time. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to hide who I am. Rich Rising's cookie mix. So, if Paul said, I will gladly talk about my weaknesses, just so Christ's power may rest on me. For when I am weak, then I am strong. Right? So in me showing up unapologetically being me, in me not being ashamed or feeling like I need to hide who I am as a person, I know that that's when God's strength is going to be revealed to me. Because in our weaknesses, that's when God's strength is revealed, right? So when we think about, embracing our imperfections, this involves first and foremost acknowledging them, right? Every step program, right? Because think about it, every single thing we do, every single level that we move towards in life, we have to take a step. Ultimately, we need to take a step forward. Some of us are too busy taking steps backwards, you know? But ultimately, when we try to move on to something, where we try to grow through something or get to something, it requires us to take a step forward. Rich Risings, Andrew. And so we've got to move forward. And so in every single step program, the first step is admitting that there's an issue, that there's a problem, right? Or acknowledging that there's an issue, that there's a problem. So for us, in order to move forward and to continue to grow, we have to first acknowledge that we are flawed. We have to first acknowledge that we make mistakes, that we fall short. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with us for that, because we get it from our ancestors. All the way back to the beginning of time. Misunderstood, Tiffany, welcome in. And so embracing our imperfections first requires us to acknowledge them. Welcome in, Rose. Hey, pretty. Welcome in. Good morning to you as well. And so again, excuse me, embracing our imperfections involves acknowledging them, but not just acknowledging them. We can't just say, yeah, I got a problem, right? We can't just say, oh, I got a problem. We have to understand them, right? We need to understand why. Why do I do this? Is this something I can change? Is this something I'm willing to give up? Is this something I'm willing to shift? And we've got to understand that these imperfections that we hide, hey Peach, these imperfections that we hide, what we need to do is understand that they are a part of our unique journey. All right? So no more hiding behind our imperfections. We've got to embrace them. We've got to acknowledge them. We've got to call them what they are. Human experience, right? And so in Romans 12:2, it encourages us to be transformed by the renewing of the mind, right? And so all the time we talk about shifting our mindset, right? Focusing more on the positive, getting out of these negative spaces. Well, again, that's what Romans 12:2 tells us. Be transformed by the renewing of the mind. Renewing, making it whole again, cleaning it up, right? This transformation is an ongoing process, and it's a journey of growth and learning. Isn't that why we're here, right? This self-care journey that we on is so we can be a better version of ourselves today, better than the person we were yesterday. No comparison to anyone else, because I'm my own competition, right? It's me versus me. And so I need to be on this journey of growth and learning for me, so that way I can become more aligned with God's purpose. Because see, a lot of us are walking around and we're just walking around. I don't know if y'all seen The Walking Dead, okay? But in watching this show with my husband, I was like, oh my gosh, many of us are walking around like the dead, right? And in this show, The Walking Dead, people who have died, they're really not dead. Like they're just walking. They don't have any logic, any concept. They're literally just walking the earth. And they still have a brain function, right? Hey, Luscious Dip. So their brain is still active, but they're not really thinking. They don't have any real thoughts. At the end of the day, they just walk. And they have to be, you've got to be, they're empty shells of themselves. Thank you, Ruffman. So they're empty shells of themselves. And so as I'm watching this show, y'all know I turn everything into a whole teachable moment, right? So as I'm watching The Walking Dead, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so many of us that are walking around empty shells of ourselves. Right? We're just walking around based on muscle memory. We get up, we use the bathroom, we brush our teeth, we take a shower, we get dressed. Hey, Sweet Tea, thank you so much. We take a shower, we get dressed, we eat breakfast, we send the kids off. Hey, FBM. We do all of these things. We go to work, we get off work, we get the kids, we come home. Like, we're just walking around on muscle memory, doing the same thing over and over and over again. And so then when life starts lifing, we get so lost. We are so hurt and we are so confused because we just can't understand, why am I here? What am I doing? Yeah, it's like the movie Groundhog's Day, Peach. You just keep doing it over and over and over again until one day you're like, why am I here? What am I doing? What am I supposed to be doing? I look at other people, and other people seem so happy in what they're doing, and I'm like, I want that joy. Yo, I want that happiness. Why don't I get it? So then we start beating ourselves up, and I'm like, oh, I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy enough. I don't deserve this. Right? Because we're walking around just empty versions of ourselves. We're walking around like the dead. Right? And so we have to, acknowledge that there is more for me, that God does have a plan for me, that there is more in store for me, and it's bigger than this, right? And so I'm not, there's nothing wrong with me. I just need to understand that my focus needs to be with what's going well for me, what's right for me. Rich Risings, Leo, welcome in. And so again, I'm going to go back to something that I just said. I'm going to repeat this again. Embracing our imperfections involves acknowledging them and understanding that they are a part of our unique journey. Okay? Our imperfections, our flaws, the mistakes that we made, these are all part of the human experience. Right? When we always say we get it from our mama, and she get it from her mama, who got it from her mama, who got it from her mama, all the way back to our first mama, right? So again, we have to shift our mind. Just as it's written, I gave you guys Romans 12:2. It encourages us to be transformed by the renewing of the mind. So we have to shift our mindset. And we've got to begin to embrace our messy selves. I am the conductor of the Hot Mess Express. Choo choo, all aboard, right? All aboard. Purple Cherry, welcome in. So not only do we have to embrace our own messy self, right? The mess that we are in order to move forward. We've also got to understand that other people are messy too. So we've got to stop judging people, right? We don't want people to treat us differently because we're flawed, because we make mistakes, because we fall short. But then we go out and judge the next person, right? We hold people accountable for things that we don't even hold ourselves accountable for. So we need to also embrace other people's messiness. Just as we are called to embrace our own imperfections, we're also called to embrace the messiness in others. And so in, John 13:34-35, Jesus commands us to love one another as he has loved us. This means loving others in their entirety, including their flaws and their imperfections. Colossians 3:13 further instructs us to bear with each other. Bear with each other, y'all, right? And forgive one another if anyone has any grievance against someone. Basically, it instructs us to forgive as the Lord forgave us. So, if we're out here holding grudges against people for being human, right? Because people make mistakes. People mess up. People offend you. People hurt your feelings. People do things that is not necessarily pleasing, right? But if we can't forgive them for being human, who's to say that we should be forgiven? Right? So again, it says bear with each other. I'm not saying that we need to enable each other. I'm not saying that we need to keep allowing each other to show up and hurt each other. You know what I mean? Like, we don't need to repeat the cycle again and again. When you show me who you are, I believe it. Period, point blank, I believe it. And if what you did hurt me before, then I'm smart enough to learn the lesson to protect myself going forward. Right? But it's written to bear with each other and forgive each other if any of us has if any of you have a grievance against someone. Forgive just as the Lord forgave you. And so as we move towards embracing other people's imperfections, we have to understand that that involves extending grace and compassion. It means understanding that everyone is on their own journey. just as we are. And so Matthew 7, 1 through 5 reminds us not to judge others, but to look at our own flaws first, right? Don't throw stones, the glass houses. Y'all know about that? A little piece of that, right? So we shouldn't judge others, but we should look at our own flaws. We should reflect on the times that we fell short. We should reflect on the times that we've hurt people, that we've offended people, where we wanted someone to show us a little grace and a little mercy, right? And so by doing so, that allows us to start to cultivate a spirit of humanity and empathy. And so I've got 3 tips, practical tips, right? Practical applications. Thank you guys for the gifts. 3 practical applications for us to embrace the messiness. All right. So I want you guys to add this to the chat. These are practical applications to embrace the messiness. Thank you, Kel. Number 1, authenticity and vulnerability. Add that to the chat for me. Authenticity and vulnerability. You must be authentic and vulnerable about your own imperfections. It is important for you to share your struggles, share your weaknesses, knowing that they do not diminish your worth. Sharing your struggles and pointing out your weaknesses is not going to change the amazing, beautiful person that you are. It's not going to diminish your worth. Instead, it's going to make you a more relatable person. And it's going to prove that you are simply human. So again, be authentic and vulnerable. Number 2, support and encouragement. Support and encouragement. It is important to offer support and encouragement to those around you. Rich Rising Shell. I said Shell. Goodness. Chantel, welcome in. Thank you, boo. Offer support and encouragement to those around you. Create a safe space where people can share their imperfections without the fear of being judged, right? That's why we have this safe space. A place that I have created where we can come together and be ourselves without feeling like someone's gonna judge us. We get to just show up and unapologetically be who we are. Feel how we want to feel, right? As we look at being supportive and encouraging, we have to understand that we must be a source of compassion and understanding. Each and every one of us. You can't just show up to the self-care club and like, oh, I'm going to be compassionate here and I'm going to be understanding here, and then I'm going to go back out here into the streets as I, scroll through the app, and all of a sudden I'm just going to throw all of that out the window. No. You must constantly, consistently, consecutively be a source of compassion in every single thing that we do. Rich Risings Yogi. In every single thing that we do, be a source of compassion and encouragement and understanding. And then number 3 is grace and forgiveness. Grace and forgiveness. First and foremost, you have to extend grace to yourself. You have to forgive yourself. You are human. Big dog, you are human. Show yourself a little grace and mercy. And then we also have to understand that we've got to extend that grace and that forgiveness to others as well. Remember, we're all on this journey of growth and transformation. So it is important for us to practice forgiveness, knowing that God forgave us. Right? God forgave us. And therefore, we are now called to forgive others as well. So again, it is key for us to be authentic, be vulnerable, be supportive, be encouraging, show grace, mercy, forgiveness. And as we extend all of these things to ourselves, and as we show up being the example of these things for ourselves, then we spread that out to the community, right? Because we're not gatekeepers, so we're not going to hold on to all of this knowledge. We're not going to hold on to all of it. We are going to give it back. We are going to express this with others and how we interact with each other. But we're going to first do that love for ourselves, right? We're going to save ourselves first. Give me just a moment, guys. Welcome in, Eric. I see you. Thank you. Welcome in. So right now, you guys, I'm going to pull up some affirmations for us today. And like I said, today, it was just on me to want to lean a little bit more into the word. Some of us like receipts with our teaching, right? And I constantly refer to my belief as the universe, respectfully, but I do believe in God. And so I will say the universe, just because I don't know where we all stand, but I believe that we all believe in a higher power, whatever you call it, right? Him, her, them, right? Whatever you identify with. And so, as I stated today, I just wanted to lean in a little bit more. And I thought that it would be a great thing to tie the affirmations to the word. And so for those of you who may not be believers, if you aren't a believer of the Bible, focus more on the affirmation. Don't worry about the scripture I give you. Right? Take the bitter with the sweet. Take the parts you want and leave the rest behind for everybody else. That's what you got to do in life sometimes. All right, so I have 10 affirmations inspired by our theme of loving and embracing our imperfections. And I am going to give you guys the biblical references that I have with them as well. So that way you can go back. For those of you who wish to work on your spiritual self-care and y'all want to go look it up, just to kind of explore the word a little bit more. But, just understanding that the Bible talks a lot about self-care, self-preservation, healing, forgiving. All of these things that we struggle with these days, it's all written there. And perhaps for those of you who are on your spiritual self-care journey, this might be a great start for you. But like I said, for those of you who don't want to, pick up that particular good book, just take the affirmation and let him use you. So number 1, I am wonderfully made by God, and my imperfections are a part of his perfect design. I am wonderfully made by God, and my imperfections are a part of his design. You can reference Psalms 139:14. Number 2, God's grace is sufficient for me, and his power is made perfect in my weakness. God's grace is sufficient for me, and his power is made perfect in my weaknesses. reference 2 Corinthians 12:9. I like number 3. I am loved unconditionally by God, even in my most imperfect moments. I am loved unconditionally by God, even in my most imperfect moments. Romans 5:8. I am on a journey of transformation, and God is faithfully working on me. Come on, work in progress. I am on a journey of transformation, and God is faithfully working on me. Philippians 1:6. I embrace my flaws and mistakes as opportunities for growth and learning. I embrace my flaws and mistakes as opportunities for growth and learning. Romans 12:2. I am forgiven by God, and I extend that forgiveness to myself and others. I am forgiven by God, and I extend that forgiveness to myself and others. Colossians 3:13. I am worthy of love and acceptance just as I am. I am worthy of love and acceptance just as I am. Romans 15:7. I choose to love others as Christ loves me, embracing their imperfections. I choose to love others as Christ loves me, embracing their imperfections. John 13:34-35. Here go my other favorite one, y'all. I am a work in progress, and God's plan for me is good and perfect. I am a work in progress, and God's plan for me is good and perfect. Jeremiah 29:11. And number 10, I find strength and beauty in my authenticity and vulnerability. I find strength and beauty in my authenticity and vulnerability. 2 Corinthians 12:10. So again, these affirmations can help you to reinforce a mindset of self-acceptance and compassion for others, as well as ourselves, rooted in the understanding of God's love and grace. So as we conclude today, understanding that loving the imperfect and embracing the flaws within ourselves and others is a journey that is rooted deeply in our biblical teachings. It is about recognizing our inherent messiness and understanding that it is through this messiness that God's love and grace shines the brightest. So let us strive to love as Christ loves, fully and unconditionally, embracing every single flaw and every single imperfection along the way. So with that, I'm going going to take this opportunity to thank each and every one of you for being here with me today. Your presence means the world to me. And I tell you guys this every single day, and I hope you guys feel the love, right? I hope you guys truly feel comfortable in this space. I work very hard to create a safe space for us and to make sure that we are cultivating a space where we all feel valued and heard and loved, right? So you guys showing up each day and your support for me in this movement that we're on really makes a positive impact, not just in the Self-Care Club community, but truly in my life as well. So I thank each and every one of you. You know, your support during the live stream does directly benefit the Self-Care Club LLC. The generosity that you guys show every day fuels my mission and is why I just keep coming back day after day, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna just be faithful and obedient and do what I'm being called to do. So I thank you guys for accepting me as I am, flaws and all, right? And you guys being vulnerable. Grand Risings, Dela Flair, welcome in. You guys being, vulnerable and willing to, share your flaws with me as well. So, but until the next time, I encourage each and every one of you to take care of yourself, spend time loving on yourself, pouring into yourself. Show yourself that grace and compassion. Remember all that we talked about today, you guys. Authenticity, vulnerability, support, encouragement, grace, forgiveness. I hope to connect with each and every one of you again during our next live coaching session. We will be back on Monday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Reborn baby mama, welcome in. Gloria, welcome in. I'm not going to say you're late, sweets. I'm just going to point out that you're not on time. Okay. But, we embrace the imperfections, y'all. That just means y'all have to go over to the YouTube and get your blessing today. But I am serious, y'all. If y'all missed today, I really encourage y'all to go to YouTube as soon as I post that to get it. Go over to the website and get it, because there was some good stuff there, y'all. I might be a little bit biased, but I mean, there was some good stuff there.